Well, today, I guess Channel 1 is slowly trying to redeem themselves. Now, why am I saying that, you may be wondering? Well, they actually did cover the mess on the subways this morning. In fact, all morning they were all over it, from what people were telling me from watching Mornings on 1 when they were live this morning. And also, they did also talk about the press conference Tom Swazi had. So, you want proof? It's on the website. And we do have the proof right here if we can find one of the stories. Yep, it got buried right there. Move my screen to the right so you can see it. So there it is. Right there. On New York One's homepage. Oh, I called the New York One by accident. I had to say Channel 1. And then look, you have to find the Penn Station story there. You know what's on the homepage? Yeah, they let Eric Adams grace the homepage. What else is new? What else is new, considering that he's going to be sworn in right after the ball drops on Saturday? So, obviously, I'm going to try to monitor Channel 1. I mean, they better cover the inauguration because it's a brief ceremony in Times Square. Or maybe it'll be online somewhere because obviously I want to see the new mayor being sworn in, of course. But I'm still worried he's going to be one of those do-nothing Democrats who just claims he wants to do this and do that and then, backtracks. So anyhow, let's get to the first story. Here we go. So here we go. MTA suspends BW&C service over COVID staffing crunch. The MTA has suspended subway service on the BW&C lines this morning due to staffing shortages brought on the recent surge in COVID-19 cases. In a series of tweets, the agency said, like everyone else in New York, we've been affected by the surge. We're running as much train service as we can with the crews we have available. So look at this. And I'm going to show you how despicable this is today. On how there's no express service in Brooklyn on the B line. They're telling people, oh, use the Q train. Oh, use the D train. Yeah, but if you're in Queens and you're in Astoria, you're going to have a very bad time trying to get to Lower Manhattan. Yep. And look how bad this is. This is what happens with the staffing shortage. I'm very worried when we hit the first Monday of the new year, there's going to be Armageddon of how bad the service is going to be. I mean, people are going back to work on Monday. You got to run all the service you can. At least the good news is there are opening testing sites and subway stations now. So that's a good thing. And I'm glad the Jackson Heights one is available. So I may go check that one out if I can't get tested at Osnum. Because I don't know. All I'm just going to say is they screwed up my paperwork. And thankfully it got resolved. But I need a plan B if that happens again. Because I'd rather would be safe than sorry. Even if they don't require testing 1 week. I don't want to take the chance. I'd rather would get tested and then know I have to quarantine for 5 days. All I'm going to say is the CDC's being dumb. I don't know why they're not recommending you to get a test after the 5th day. You really should get a negative test to prove that, you're clear of COVID. Alright, so let's take a look at the subway map to prove a point here. Okay, here we go. Here is the subway map. We're going to pull it up right now. So let's take a look at the suspended lines for an example. Let's start off with the W. So now, with the W not being available for the past couple of days, the W would be a very convenient option if you were going all the way to Whitehall Street, South Ferry, right here. So now, this is what you have to do. What you have to do is take the N in Astoria, and then guess what? In order to get the R train, you have to go all the way to Lexington Avenue and 59th Street, and then take the R train from there. Major inconvenience. Alright, when you have, what, the W running? Unacceptable. Just unacceptable. And then let's get to the B train. Let's get to how people in Brooklyn are getting double-crossed. So in order to get anywhere on the B line, your options right now are to take the Q or the R train. So now, guess what? You have no express service in Brooklyn today. You're screwed along the Brighton line today. Look at this. They're telling you to take a local Q train. I mean, what else is there to say right now? They had to, I guess, realign everything, because now, what are you going to do? Screw over the people who need service locally on the Q? Can't do that. And then, to make matters worse, on the Broadway line, now you're going to have no C service, which is going to be chaotic, because now the J is going to get overcrowded. I mean, again, this is just crazy. And imagine if this was a normal week. I mean, this is just, I guess, because, again, a lot of people are off for the holidays. Remember, New Year's Eve is tomorrow. You got to account that. So I just wanted to prove the point right there. And now we're going to move on to Congressman Tom Suozzi, who I have a lot of friends on the North Shore of Long Island who are represented by him. So we're going to watch the video very quickly. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
The safety is pretty fun. It's just outside the station. Last 2 years, it was a little rough, but like I say again,
By the way, they spent 1:42 covering this.
It's secure. If I'll be here every day, I'm fine, and everybody out of towners, they're pretty well taken care of too.
Robert Blunt's job is near Penn Station. He describes his experience commuting to and from work. Yet Congressman Tom Suozzi, who is running for the governor of New York, says changes need to be made to the station to make it safer.
Oh, goodness. Did you hear what that woman said? Who is running for the governor of New York? No, it's running for governor of New York. You don't add the word the.
I came here the other day, and it was terrifying. I mean, it was really a scary environment because of the fact that there is a lot of homeless people that are staying here in the Penn Station.
The MTA responded, saying in part, there have been repeated calls for the city of New York to give more health and homeless a bystander outside of Penn Station. The NYPD reported a man shot a bystander outside of Penn Station. The NYPD reported back in November that a 32-year-old man died after he was stabbed in the neck on a subway train as it entered Penn Station.
Some of our commuters actually feel unsafe. We're trying to get ridership back as a commuter to come through here and see all these people desperately needing services that they're not getting.
NYPD records show that crime was up more than 42% this year to date.
Unbelievable. What is Gerard doing on New York 1? Can anybody explain to me why the president of the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council is doing on a New York City station that's only about New York City? My goodness. Stay on Channel 12, Gerard. That's all I'm going to say about that, but you get the idea. And then look at this woman. She's like, oh, I can't read the teleprompter. Look how clueless she looks. But again, they spent almost 2 minutes covering it. Almost 2 minutes. I mean, this should have let off the newscast, not COVID. Ugh. Anyhow, there are stories that New York One didn't cover, and we're going to get into them right now. SUV crashes into two pedestrians. Bronx restaurant driver is on the run. So let's watch this. We're not going to watch this. No, read this. Excuse me. Because New York One's messing up my vocabulary today. Look at that. Okay, 2 people were hurt, including a teenage girl, after an SUV plowed into them and smashed into a restaurant in the Bronx. This incident happened on Wednesday, December 29th, shortly after 3 p.m. on East 129th Street and Brook Avenue in Mott Haven. The driver of a Dodge SUV with Texas plates struck a 17-year-old girl and a 40-year-old man before crashing into an outdoor dining structure at Villa Tapia. The girl is in critical condition but is expected to survive. The 40-year-old victim suffered minor injuries. They were both taken to nearby hospitals. The driver of the SUV fled on foot. So, we do have a video. I'm going to mute this for a second. Okay. So you can see the vehicle involved here. That's the Dodge SUV. And that's just scary. And, you know, New York One obviously ignoring this. Also, this was covered on Channel 7 last night. And there is a YouTube video, and I'll move this a little bit to the left so you can read the headline. Yeah, Josh Heiniger did a good job with this story last night. And I'll have the link in the description below of the YouTube video of this story. Because they let off the newscast with this last night. And I'll give Sandra Bookman credit. I'm glad that she is not catering to COVID all the time, which is very important. It's just that, again, I don't know why she's not doing the news by herself on the weekends. Does she really need Joe Torres? I mean, think about it. Channel 2, on the weekend, anchored by a woman. Channel 4, on the weekend, anchored by a woman. Channel 11, anchored by a woman. Channel 5 on the weekend is anchored by a man. But the point is, Joe Torres really doesn't need to be doing the news on the weekends. I mean, I will say, he's a much better street reporter than a newscaster. I will say that right now. He does a better job interviewing people. He's better at that. So, he's had gaps before. Okay. Moving on, because I have a couple articles I have to read from May of New York. Another incident in the Bronx, Channel 1 ignored. Detectives are looking for a suspect behind a Bronx shooting early on Sunday morning that left 2 men dead. Police say the double homicide happened at about 4:07 a.m. on December 26 at the corner of East 168th Street and Morris Avenue in the Morsania section. Officers from the 44th Precinct responded to a 911 call about the shooting, found 2 men with bullet wounds in front of a nearby deli. One of the victims, a 31-year-old man shot in the head, was subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Police have withheld his identity pending family notification. EMS rushed the second victim, an unidentified man in his 30s who had been shot in the neck, arm, and back to Lincoln Hospital, where he died several hours later. Okay, so let's move this down. Early on in the investigation, police did not have any details about the events leading up to the shooting or description of any suspects involved. Sources familiar with the case said a firearm was found under the unidentified man in his 30s at the scene. So far, there is no arrest in the ongoing probe. So, New York One ignored this. No surprise there. And then look at this. This happened early this morning. Where was Channel 1? Nowhere to be found. Okay, here we go. Look like this is Forest Hills. Ah! This is Forest Hills. According to police, at around 4 a.m. on December 30th, a 36-year-old man was parked in his car at the corner of 70th Avenue and Austin Street in Forest Hills when he got into an argument with an unknown man. The man pulled out a gun and shot the victim, who was still inside the car. The suspect then fled the scene on foot in an unknown direction. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to his torso and to his arm and was taken to Jamaica Hospital in stable condition. So there's some good news at least. At least the victim's going to be okay. At this time, a description of the suspect could not be provided. No arrests have been made and the investigation is ongoing. So apparently this might have been the car involved. Hard to say right now. Could be. I don't know. All they have on AM New York's website is just crime scene. But I know where this New York Sports Clubs is. Right by the movie theater. You can't make this stuff up. And then this happened also in Queens. Duo assaults victim and steal his car during a home invasion in Queens. Hang on, 70th Road and 137th Street. I think I have an idea where this is. Kew Garden Hills. Kew Garden Hills. You gotta be kidding me. Right by 107 Precinct. Okay, here we go. According to the NYPD, at 3:35 a.m. on December 29th, the suspect entered the home of a 43-year-old man located in the vicinity of 70th Road and 137th Street in the Kew Gardens Hills section. Once inside, the suspects pulled out firearms and struck the victim on his head. The crooks then duct taped the victim and took his debit card, car keys, vehicle titles, personal papers, and his 2014 Mercedes-Benz and fled the scene. The victim suffered swelling, abrasions, and cuts to his head and went privately to a local hospital for treatment in stable condition. So that victim's also going to be okay. Alright, so we do have a surveillance video of the incident. And obviously, since this did happen in the confines of the 107 precinct, I will give you their phone number if you have any information regarding this incident. Please give him a call if you have any connection to what happened last night. Phone number is 718-969-5100. Again, that's 718-969-5100. You can also call the Crime Stoppers. I'll leave their number here so you can save it for yourself. But it's best to notify the 107 precinct because they are actively investigating this, since again, this is in the confines of the 107, so obviously, again, I'm only saying that because I know their map very well, and I'm sure they went to the scene right away. And then we're going to read this last one here. Subway creep sought for bloody A-train assault in Chinatown. Cops are looking for the violent man behind a bloody A-train assault in Chinatown on Christmas, in which he punched and stabbed a 29-year-old woman during a dispute. Crime Stoppers released video footage Wednesday night of the attacker sought for the heinous attack, which occurred at 7:55 a.m. on Saturday on board a Brooklyn-bound A-train approaching the Canal Street stop. According to law enforcement sources, the perp got into an argument with the victim about the suspect refusing to hold the car door open for her. That quickly escalated into violence, cops said, when he punched her in the back of the head. Seconds later, the subway creep pulled out a knife and stabbed the woman in the left abdomen and groin. He's shown in the video footage exiting from the train car at Canal Street and fled in an unknown direction. Okay, so we do have a video. Yep, there he is. Hey, hang on here. This looks like the new R179 train. Yeah, it kind of does. Alright, the incident was reported to the 1st Precinct and Transit District 2. EMS rushed the victim to Bellevue Hospital, where she was listed in stable condition. Police described the suspect as a man with a dark complexion who wore a red ski cap, a red and black jacket, blue jeans, and multicolored sneakers. Alright, so that's it. I mean, what else is there to say about New York 1, or Channel 1 as we should call them? Obviously, trying to slowly redeem themselves, but just not completely perfect. And obviously, ignoring everything else that's going on. So, that's it. Thank you for watching.